Hi, it's Kari Mathews of Prairie Quilting. Today we're working on my quilt, Peachy Paths. The pattern is available through my website, prairiequilting.com, and the fabric I use for this is my very first fabric line with Benartex called Peaches and Cream. So I've been having lots of fun playing with the fabrics, and I hope you do too. Let's get started. All right, for our Peachy Paths block, we're going to go ahead and make some hourglass units. So we have here 2 of these peach cherry units, squares, and then we have a red geo and then this tan plaid. So we're going to match up one of these, the peach ones to each of these squares. We'll draw our diagonal line. So we'll sew a 1/4 inch from both sides of the line. Right, and then we're going to go ahead and turn around and come back down the other side. Okay, and now we're going to cut on that line. All right, and we're going to press toward that the coral on both sides of that. All right, and now we're going to go ahead and clip those corners. We're just getting rid of as much bulk as we can here. All right, so now we're going to take these lighter squares and we are going to go ahead and draw a diagonal line on the back side, and we're going to do it perpendicular to that seam. Okay, so here's the seam perpendicular to that. And we will also be sewing a 1/4 inch from both sides of this line. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and match these up with our red, the ones with red, okay? So what we're doing is we're offsetting the peach, okay? So you can see how that's going to make hourglass units. And we pressed toward the peach, so these nest, okay? So we're going to go ahead and actually nest them around the center here and put some pins. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put kind of, give myself enough room to get my presser foot by on both sides, but I'm pinning that in place, okay, so that these will stay nested. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing here. Okay, so I'm feeling that. I can feel that it's nesting with my fingers, and then I'm giving myself some space to get my presser foot by so I can leave my pins in. Okay, and there we go. Let's go ahead and sew. Okay, as I'm getting closer here, I'm going to put my needle down, and I'm kind of trying to keep those nesting, okay? So I'm kind of just feeling that with my fingers. Okay, we made it the one direction. All right, and we're going to turn and come back the other direction, just like we did earlier. Okay, and I'm feeling again my fingers. Okay, just kind of making sure it doesn't bunch up. All right, so now I am going to take my pins and get those out. And we're going to go ahead and cut on that line. And when we're done, we'll have 4 hourglass units. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and press, and I'm just going to press toward the red. Okay, it doesn't really matter at this point which way you're pressing, because it's not going to nest with anything. This is really fun. It looks like the block is actually set on point, but it's not. All right, and now we'll clip off these. Get rid of all of our bulk. All right, so we have our hourglass units all put together. Let's go ahead and assemble the block. Okay, so now we are going to be making units like this. We're going to make we're gonna make 4 of them. So I'm gonna connect up the triangles first. So I'm gonna match them right sides together, and I'm eyeballing the corners here, okay? So the corners should stick out the same distance on both sides, okay? That looks good. Okay, let's go ahead and sew. All right, so I have the triangles connected, and we'll press all together. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead now and connect up the hourglass unit to the peaches here, okay? All right, let's go sew. Okay, and this one is, the piece block is actually larger than this block I cut. So I'm gonna put that behind, and I'm gonna kind of match it up a little closer to the edge, and then we're gonna ease that fabric in. I'm putting it on the bottom, because if you put it on the bottom, a lot of times it will ease the fabric in. So, here we go. Okay, so this one now, this block, just the block part is larger, so we'll just put that on the bottom. And I'm gonna kind of try to match the edges up as best I can. All right, and to press these units, I'm just gonna go the same direction here the whole way. I'm going toward that point there. And it's away from the bulk. All right, and we'll go ahead and clip our corners off again. Okay, last one. All right, so now we have kind of an arrow type unit put together. So this block is constructed diagonally, so let's go ahead and put the rest of it together. So now we are going to be making, I don't know, it's kind of a third of the block here. So we have these quarter square triangles. So let's go ahead and start matching those up. We have 2 of these units to make. So I'm gonna match up my corners here. Okay, that's where I want to start sewing from. Over here, where that point is, that's where my needle should come out of the fabric, okay? So we'll do that one, and then we have one more. Okay, let's go sew. All right, so now let's go ahead and connect up this other side. Okay, so we're gonna sew this time from the corner, so we'll have the white piece on the top, okay? All right, let's go ahead and sew. All right, and we're gonna go toward those white sections since there's less bulk. All right, and we're gonna go ahead and clip our corners again. Okay, so we have 2 of these arrow sections here, and we are putting them together with the center square. So we'll just go ahead and do those one at a time. All right, and let's connect this other side. All right, so we're gonna press toward that center square here. All right, so we have our block. It's a diagonally constructed block. We're sewing the rows together here. We press those opposite directions, so they should nest. All right, let's go ahead and sew. So we just have one side left, so let's go ahead and connect that. We are also going to nest our seams on this. So I'm feeling that with my fingers. Okay, let's go sew. All right, and we're gonna press away from the center here. All right, so we're clipping our corners off here. All right, we are finished with our Peachy Paths block. I hope you had fun, and I hope to see you soon for another project. Take care.